This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder that Capital One Bank Guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also tell you about how Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bankguy. Capital One N.A., member FDIC. Work can be a little weird. Cringy training seminars, coworkers who won't stop talking about their plant, forgetting the mute button at an inopportune moment. We have to deal with a lot on any given workday. Sometimes it can feel hard to thrive and move forward in your career. Well, that's where LinkedIn comes in. LinkedIn helps you get ideas and insights from experts in your field, connect with people professionally, grow your network, and access tools designed to help you find the right fit for your next role. Whether you're just getting started, figuring out your next move, or looking to accelerate your career, LinkedIn is built to support you at every stage, because LinkedIn is the network that works for you. Visit linkedin.com/knowstuff to learn more.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark, and there's Charles W. Chuck Bryant, and Jerry's over there, so that makes this Stuff You Should Know.
Hi.
How you feeling? Kind of upbeat, positive?
Well, I will say that this topic, I felt like I was having a panic attack while researching and reading this stuff.
Me too. Like, I noticed I felt like I couldn't breathe at some points.
Yeah, it was, and we covered a little bit of this in Worst Ways to Die many years ago.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, drowning is no picnic.
No, it's not. And one of the things that I'd always heard about drowning is that, like, it was actually a very peaceful experience.
I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, I don't like, obviously no one can say for certain, but it doesn't seem to be, at all. And it seems to be, like, actually not a good way to go.
Well, I mean, you probably could if you, and this is giving something away early, but one of the possible outcomes, aside from death and morbidity, which is you develop an injury or disability because of what happened, is...
Aren't you on record for hating that word?
Morbidity?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it.
All right. Well, my apologies. Go ahead.
And no morbidity. So you could ask someone who suffered drowning with no morbidity, like, was it peaceful? And they'll probably be like, nope.
Well, that's where I got that from was, online if you go, and you got to take it all with a grain of salt because there's plenty of 14-year-olds who like to just make stuff up.
Sure.
But there are, threads on Reddit and other places that basically are supposedly people who have survived drowning. And I didn't find any that were like, it was actually very peaceful. My brain flooded with endorphins and I was ready to go into the light. Mm-hmm. Instead, it was more like, I saw one that said it burned like lava.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you think about it, if you've ever had something go down the wrong pipe or whatever, think about how much that hurts your chest.
Yeah.
Well, Chuck, we're here to tell everybody that what you experienced where you took a drink of Coke and it went down the wrong pipe, that didn't go anywhere near your lungs.
Right.
That was the least of what can happen to you. And it just hit your epiglottis, which is that flap that converts your trachea into your esophagus, right?
Yeah, that flap that's like, sometimes I want to work and sometimes I want to scare you to death.
Right, but zero Coke went into your lungs when that happened. So imagine how bad that is. That was just your epiglottis. It actually gets way, way worse when you actually are drowning. Yeah. And you said something that we really need to point out here because for as long as people have been drowning, since people have been people. Right, exactly. So for as long as people have been drowning, we still have only very recently begun to make universal definitions of what drowning is.
Yeah, it's 2002, the World Congress of Drowning. That's a thing. Then they at least had the good sense to hold it in Amsterdam, at least, right? So they could get their good time on.
Sure, afterward.
Yeah, after the meetings.
These are awful.
But what they did there was they decided, hey, we need to really codify this because 350,000 people a year die, and it's the third most common cause of accidental death around the world. So let's really kind of classify this stuff so everyone's on the same page moving forward.
Yeah, because everyone wasn't on the same page. And actually, if you follow media reports, people still aren't on the same page.
Oh,
There's
sure.
a lot of unclear terminology that the medical community doesn't recognize, but that the media uses pretty frequently.
Oh, yeah.
There's pretty widespread misunderstanding that drowning is not death. It's a way you can die, but it's actually a specific type of injury that starts with your epiglottis, as we'll see, or your larynx. I'm sorry, but it's like a injury that can happen to you that you can die from, but you can actually have drowned and survived.
Yeah, that's very misleading because that's the actual definition. But in everyday parlance, if you say, I went to the pool last weekend and my child drowned, and someone said, "Oh my God," you went, "Oh no, they're fine."
Right.
Like, it's not a very fair thing to say to a friend.
No, it's not. But if you're following the definition of the 2002 World Congress of Drowning, that would be the right thing for you to say.
Yeah, but that kind of pedantry in just everyday conversation, you should lead by saying, "I had a close call. My child technically drowned according to the World Congress of Drowning."
Right. And
then
then
they're doing fine.
push the glasses up your nose.
Right.
As you're saying it like that.
Exactly.
So I gave away a little bit here. With drowning, the whole process starts when water or liquid comes in contact with your larynx, your voice box. That something, as far as human evolution goes, something about that flips your reptilian brain out.
Yeah.
And your motor takes over. Like, your motor instincts take over, and there's very little you can do from that point on as far as conscious thought and movement.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that last part later, but you're totally right, man. Like, your body is trying to do one thing, and that is survive this experience. And like I said, we'll get in a little more of what drowning looks like. But during drowning, you're right, that first contact with water in the larynx, you have that gasp initially, and then you are in charge for a short time because you try and hold your breath voluntarily, but then your larynx just starts spasming, and hypoxemia, 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 I'll bet. Hypoxemia?
No, hypoxemia.
Hypoxemia. That's what it said, right?
Oh my God. Hypoxemia.
It's funny. I looked up a bunch of word pronunciations today, but that one, I just flew right by it.
I'll tell you, when I've got down is quinceañera.
Yeah, that's next.
Right.
How about hypoxemia?
Sure.
Basically what that is decreased levels of oxygen in your bloodstream. So your body's trying to fight that.
Right. So your larynx, whether you like it or not, your larynx has closed. You're not breathing. You're holding your breath because your larynx is trying to prevent liquid from going into your lungs, right? And so as this is going on, you're losing oxygen concentration in your lungs. You're having a buildup of CO2. And I got this from a reference to a passage from the book The Perfect Storm.
Okay.
But supposedly, studies have shown that after about 87 seconds, your body says, "Okay, to hell with this. I can't spasm any longer. I'm going to try to take a breath."
Right.
If you happen to be underwater, then you've just taken in water.
Right.
And now a whole different set of events is happening, right? So you're already starting to become sluggish, to lose consciousness a little bit from that lack of oxygen because you haven't been breathing for, say, the last almost minute and a half. But now you've taken in water onto your lungs. And like I said, this changes things, and it makes it way, way worse.
Well, yeah, and before that even happens, your body becomes something called acidotic. How would you pronounce that?
Probably that way.
Yeah,
I would.
I actually listen to that one. It's
Okay, what is it?
it's acidotic.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I actually probably would have made it a long O.
Yeah, no long O apparently.
Okay, well, thanks for going the extra mile on that one.
I had to make up for the last one. But that's basically when, like, if that happens, it can disrupt the electrical, your wiring to your heart, and you could go into cardiac arrest, and that's sort of near the beginning of this process.
Right. So just bookmark that, everybody, because all of this is happening before your larynx stops spasming and you open up your airway and take a deep breath. And then if you happen to be underwater or your mouth is just below water level, then you've just taken in a bunch of water in your lungs.
Yeah, not good.
So what happens when you take water into your lungs is when you look at your lungs, if you can just peer at your lungs, everyone, for a second, you're going to find that they are actually branching increasingly smaller tubes, right?
Yeah, this is like elementary school science. Like everyone learned about the bronchi, the bronchioles, the alveolus. That was all kind of elementary school stuff. Right.
So the point is that in the alveolus or the alveoli, the little tiny air sacs where you exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide with the capillaries that bring blood to your lungs, there's a little something called a surfactant, and it's this chemical coating around your little tiny air sacs that allow them to open and close, which pumps the oxygen and carbon dioxide in and out, right? It allows for gas exchange.
Yeah, it's a very key part of the whole system of staying alive.
Yeah, because if your surfactant isn't working, then that alveolus can't open or close, and so you're not breathing, because that's really where the rubber meets the road when you breathe. So if the surfactant is damaged, you can't breathe. And when you take water into your lungs, it goes to the end, to those air sacs, and it depending on the type of water, it messes with the surfactant one way or another. And all of a sudden now, you are not exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide, which you weren't doing very well already for the last minute and a half. But now the water is totally screwing up that jam.
Well, yeah, in the case of fresh water, and this is something I didn't know, it is different depending on saltwater or freshwater. But freshwater, if you're in a swimming pool or a lake or something, it actually destroys that surfactant and the alveoli collapse. And they're just kind of destroyed. In saltwater, it actually doesn't destroy the surfactant, but it washes it away, which to me is sort of like splitting hairs.
Yeah.
It makes the surfactant, it doesn't work anymore, no matter which way you slice it.
Right, exactly. And so there's a couple of different, two real differences between taking in fresh water and taking in salt water in your lungs, because fresh water bears a pretty strong resemblance to the water in your body and specifically in your blood.
Yeah.
When that water enters your lungs, it actually passes very easily from your lungs into your bloodstream. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is the dilution, the concentration of water in your blood, it becomes overrun with water to where you end up, I saw apparently one World War II study found that people's blood or animals' blood, which I hate to think of how they found this out.
Oh, you know how they found that out.
But animals' blood within 3 minutes had an equal part of water and blood, or whatever is not water in the blood, within 3 minutes, which is way more of a dilution than we normally have. So you've gone from not breathing very well because you're holding your breath to suddenly not only are you not exchanging air, your blood is diluted within like 3 minutes in a freshwater drowning.
Yeah, you're really disrupting the balance of your blood and the water in your body. Mm-hmm. Everything is just thrown out of whack.
And then with salt water, something else different happens too. That saltiness in the water in your lungs actually draws water out of your blood so that your blood becomes more concentrated rather than more dilute if you drown in salt water. The upshot of all of this is you are in big trouble once water hits your lungs.
Yeah, in the case of salt water, again, in 3 minutes, and you know what's happening to the animals because they called it experimental animals. Mm-hmm. So, in other words, they drowned animals.
Yeah, I was hoping to dance around that, but yeah,
no,
that's what they did.
That's the reality. In 3 minutes with salt water, experimental animals lost 40% of their normal water volume in their blood.
Yeah, it just thickened, which can't feel good. The thing is it takes like, from what I saw, 8 minutes to die. This is actually, as bad as that sounds, this is actually a less quickly fatal process than what happens to you with fresh water in your lungs.
Wow.
But get this, Chuck. Here's where drowning gets really odd. You can die of drowning without a single drop of water ever touching your lungs. Did you know that?
That sounds like a good place to take a break.
Oh, are we going to cliffhanger this mamma jamma?
I think we should hang it off the cliff.
Okay, let's do it.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, we're here to talk to you about Wayfair, who believes that spaces should be functional, they should be comfortable, they should be well designed, and they can be well designed by you with their help.
Your updated space should feel more comfortable, inviting, and practical for everyday use. And we're talking about outdoor seating. We're talking about grills. We're talking about major appliances. If you need storage solutions, Wayfair can help you out. Patio lighting, rugs, decor. It is your one-stop shop for home.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting nice out, so it's time to think about living outdoors for the next few months. And Wayfair knows that outdoor furniture, it's heavy, it's intimidating to assemble. So Wayfair has stepped in and said, we're going to handle the hard part so you don't have to.
That's right. You can shop Wayfair Verified, your shortcut to the good stuff. And that means their team of product specialists are going to vet everything by hand using a 10-point inspection, testing things like, quality materials, functionality, and features, and even how long it takes to build that piece of furniture. And the overall experience save time, reduce hassle, and improved convenience.
Patio season is here, and these deals won't last. So head to wayfair.com right now to get your outdoor space ready for way less. That's WAYFAIR.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary, it's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
Man, Chuck, good call.
Yeah.
Because even I'm like a little on the edge of my seat, and I know it's coming next.
And you know how this thing ends?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're exactly right. You don't have to, that can happen, but to drown and die, you don't need to be the TV or movie drowning where you're floating in the water, you're fully submerged.
Right, you went down with the ship or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, they used to call it dry drowning, and in the media they still call it dry drowning. It was coined in the 1970s, but those are drowning deaths in which the larynx spasmed from exposure to water, but they died from asphyxiation. No water entered the lungs.
Right.
And it makes sense to call it dry drowning, but the CDC and everyone else basically said this it's just drowning.
Right. It's drowning.
Just because there's not water in your lungs doesn't mean you didn't drown.
Right, because whether it's the water in your lungs or the fact that you haven't been breathing, you're dying from asphyxiation. And it's a water-related asphyxiation, right?
Correct.
But it doesn't have to be water in your lungs. But that happens to something like 10 to 20% of people who die of drowning.
Yeah.
They don't have any water in their lungs whatsoever. They die before their larynx stops spasming.
Yeah, and there have been some really sad cases. This one that's referenced in the article you sent just last year in 2017, a 4-year-old boy in Texas was knocked over by a wave. Just playing out in the ocean, like knee deep in water. His head did go under for a few seconds, but Dad brings him out of the water. The kid recovers. He gets smacked on the butt and goes off and plays, and everything seems fine.
Right.
Over the next few days, they think he has a stomach flu. He complains of a pain in his shoulder, and the parents did not get him to the doctor fast enough, and he died in his sleep. And then doctors found a very small amount of water in his lungs.
Yeah, apparently it doesn't take much. Something like most drowning victims have something like 4 cc's per kilogram of water in their lungs. So if you're a kid who weighs 50 pounds, that's 3 ounces of water.
Yeah.
Right, to die from that, right? But the thing that scared everybody, scared the bejesus out of parents everywhere about this poor kid named Frankie Delgado, he died like days after he had his drowning incident, right? No one knew that could happen. And this is one of the ways the media is not helping things. They call this dry drowning too.
Right.
That was never even called dry drowning. This one's called secondary drowning. But again, if you go to like the CDC or the World Health Organization, they're like, those don't exist. Stop calling them that. It's drowning, and you can actually die of drowning days afterward. But the thing that was really misreported about Frankie Delgado and then other kids like him is that it gives the impression that, dad picked him up, spanked him on the bottom, and he went along his way and he was totally fine, then all of a sudden drops dead 3 days later.
Right.
That's not how it works. The kid their health starts to decline, and usually in cases where this is happening, where it's like a delayed drowning death, their health declines very obviously within 2 or 3 hours of the incident. And it's really bad. It's like they become sluggish because they're becoming hypoxic. They throw up a lot. They vomit a lot. They might defecate themselves. Their behavior changes. It's very obvious that something's very wrong with them. But the problem is most parents don't say, oh yeah, my kid took in some water in the pool a day before.
Yeah.
And they don't think they just think like Frankie Delgado's parents did, that it's a stomach bug or something like that, when in fact they're actually dying from drowning right in front of their very eyes.
Yeah, it's like the head injury that you die of a week later because of whatever, some kind of internal hemorrhaging that you don't even know is going on.
Right. Yeah, it is very much like that.
Liam Neeson's wife, right?
Yes, right. She died in like a ski accident, right?
Yeah, Natasha Richardson. And I didn't look it up, but I know it was not that day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know how many days later it was, but same kind of thing where there's something going on in the body because of an incident that you don't realize is going on. And in this kid's case, I think he had edema, right? His lung tissue started swelling.
Right, it swelled, and it could no longer, like it collapsed, the little alveoli collapsed, the gas exchange wasn't going on, and so he had a decrease in oxygen and an increase in CO2, and then that's what you ultimately die from drowning, right?
Right, but you can also get injured. Brain damage is usually the major complication if you don't die from drowning. You can have that tissue damage in your lungs. You can get pneumonia or something called ARDS, acute respiratory distress syndrome.
Right. And there's also usually not usually, but frequently there's a comorbidity with a drowning, which is like a head or neck injury, a spinal injury. If you dive into the shallow end of the pool and you break your neck, you're going to start drowning like immediately because you just lost consciousness and you're underwater.
Ugh, man.
So there's, as we'll see in talking about treating drowning, you want to be aware that there's a good possibility that the person's neck is not quite right.
Yeah.
So here's one other thing that I knew before, but I had learned at one point, and it really opened my eyes. Every representation of drowning I've ever seen in any movie, on every TV show, in every book, in every song about drowning, they got it wrong. It's just wrong. It doesn't look anything like what we've all been led to believe it looks like or sounds like.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is true if you are actually drowning. But what you're talking about that you usually see in the movies, if they end up getting pulled out of water and they're fine, is just called aquatic distress. So when you're splashing around and yelling, you aren't drowning at that point.
No, you could call it pre-drowning.
Yeah, it's aquatic distress. That means you can't swim, you're panicking, and you feel like I'm in big trouble. So you're waving your arms and screaming. When you actually start drowning, this guy named Francesco A. Pia, he's a PhD, he defined what's called the instinctive drowning response, which is nothing like you see in the movies. It's very quiet.
Right.
And your body, like we mentioned earlier, your body's instinct kicks into gear, and it's not trying to wave for help or yell. It's just trying to survive and get another breath and keep that face above water.
Right. It's like all hands are on deck to keep you upright in the water. That's the whole
Literally,
point.
all hands are on deck if the deck is the water.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no, it's true. That's why I said it. So the thing is, though, Chuck, with that aquatic distress thing, it doesn't always precede drowning. So much so that drowning can come on without aquatic distress.
Oh, yeah.
And people are so conditioned to think of drowning as aquatic distress or vice versa that this is about the most heartbreaking thing I've ever heard. There are kids who will drown, a substantial amount of kids who drown within 25 yards of a parent or whoever is supposed to be watching them. And a significant portion of those kids drown with the parent or supervising adult actually watching them drown and not realizing what they're seeing because it doesn't look like what they think drowning looks like.
Yeah, 10%. I wouldn't overstate it, but yeah, 10% of the parents actually watch this happening.
Right. So this is what drowning looks like, right? If you're not going to once drowning starts, if you've gone through aquatic distress, once the drowning starts, you have your head. Your mouth is about at water level, and you can't call out for help because there's one of two things going on. Either you are trying to catch your breath every time your mouth comes above water, and it's happening so infrequently that all you can do is work on inhaling and exhaling, or your larynx is spasming and you're not breathing at all. And if you're not breathing at all, you obviously physiologically can't shout or speak or do anything. But either way, you're not able to shout or yell or call for help or say anything.
Yeah, I mean, the way I read it, though, is it's not like you're working on breathing. You have no choice in the matter.
Yeah.
Like your body has taken over, and it's not like you're like, oh, I need to get my breath. You may want to yell.
Right.
But your body is saying, no, speech is secondary in this whole situation.
Right.
We need to get you to breathe.
Yep. And then very similarly, your body, you can't control your arms any longer. Whatever you want to do with your arms, you can't. All you can do is kind of flap at the water. And the whole point of that is to keep your head above water as much as possible. One thing that I saw, Chuck, that I don't know if you figured out, I can't figure it out, but one of the things about the instinctive drowning response is you're not kicking. You're just using your arms. I don't get that at all.
Yeah. I mean, it says no evidence of a supporting kick. I don't know about that.
It just seems weird that your body wouldn't be like, oh, yeah, let's get the legs in on this, too, and maybe that'll actually help keep us above water.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not sure.
that's kind of the most important part of treading water.
I wonder also if it's because as you're getting a lower concentration of oxygen and you're becoming a little more sluggish, kicking your legs is actually harder than flapping your arms, so you just can't. Like your muscles won't do it.
I don't know. It's weird. It seems like that would be part of that natural instinct.
I would think so too. But another part of the fact that you can't control your arms is that if somebody holds a pole out right in front of your hand, you can't say, hand, grab pole.
Mm-hmm.
You can't grab like a lifesaver ring. Like you can't do anything but flap your arms up and down, and you're not doing that. Your body has taken over, and this is this instinctive response that Dr. P is talking about.
Yeah, and when they say you're not using your legs, that you're completely vertical in water, I don't know. That's the part that doesn't make sense to me. You can still be vertical in water and treading water and kicking.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
Yeah, maybe someone can fill us in on that one.
So this whole instinctive drowning response, supposedly the most people can last between 20 and 60 seconds of doing this, basically bobbing and using every bit of your strength to to get your mouth above water. But eventually you start to lose that battle and your mouth comes above water less and less frequently, and then eventually you are submerged. And if you see somebody whose head is low in the water and their mouth is at water level and their eyes are closed, or they're just kind of blank and glassy, or their hair is over their eyes, you're looking at a drowning person and you want to help them.
Yeah, I thought that hair over the eyes was interesting because there must be just an immediate response when you get out of the water to wipe the hair from your eyes.
Mm-hmm. Think about how annoying it is.
Well, that's got to be it. So if you see someone come out like the creature of the Black Lagoon, that's not a good sign.
Yep. If they're gasping and they're doing this, that's another one too. If they're trying to swim but they're not actually moving anywhere really, or if they're trying to roll over on their back and they're unsuccessful, these are all signs of drowning.
Yeah, I mean, I was a lifeguard for a few years, and it's, I think and they tell you in class, that you're used to the movies, and you got to really keep your eyes out. You can't just be flirting with the girls.
Oh, yeah.
Waiting for someone to yell and scream because they're kicking in aquatic distress.
Right.
You have to keep your eyes peeled. A good lifeguard is very vigilant.
Well, I remember hearing that like, when they interview most lifeguards about, somebody who drowned in their pool, they're like, I had no idea. They were there a second and then they were gone, and I didn't even notice. It didn't make a sound,
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. Whether you're a lifeguard or whether you're a mom or dad or a au pair or whoever, your focus has to be on the person in the pool that you're in charge of.
Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's.
All right, we'll come back and we'll talk about what to do and how to treat a drowning victim if you are so unlucky.
Hey, everybody. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tide Evo because it represents over 10 years of innovation and product development. Tide Evo is a first-of-its-kind technology where tens of thousands of minuscule fibers are spun together to form a 6 times powerful layer packed with scrubbers, brighteners, pre-treaters, and fresheners. And that's going to deliver a breakthrough clean that's so powerful, it feels like magic.
Yeah, it is kind of like magic. Tide Evo is revolutionary. A 100% concentrated, waterless laundry tile that's made of compressed microfiber soap layers rather than liquid or powder. And it's not like pods or sheets because it uses 6 layers of detergent fibers to deliver superior cold water cleaning without plastic packaging of any kind. And it provides a mess-free, lightweight solution that dissolves lickety-split. So whenever you run into a laundry challenge, turn to Tide Evo. It's revolutionary. It's magic. Try new Tide Evo. Real laundry magic.
Hey, everybody. When you're at work, you never know when you're going to get interrupted, like when an office fire drill happens right in the middle of your presentation, or maybe construction is going on just outside your window. But with the Dell Pro laptop powered by Intel Core Ultra with vPro, no matter how many interruptions you have, your laptop won't be one of them.
Yeah, with the battery that's optimized for the way you work and built-in intelligence that quiets distractions the moment you're trying to focus, your tech won't slow you down, even when you're getting bounced from an office you forgot to reserve. The Dell Pro, built for those who stay in the flow. Find technology built the way you work at Dell.com/Dell-Pro. Built for you.
All right, so let's say someone has drowned. Let's just say you're at a pool, just to make this easy, because that's kind of best case scenario because it's contained. There is usually some sort of rescue equipment on hand. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're on the beach and you're like, I need a defibrillator.
Yeah.
But most pools have this kind of stuff now.
Plus, you can also see the bottom. There's not usually like an underwater hazard or anything like that. It is about a best case scenario, yeah.
So the AHA, the American Heart Association, said that if possible, like if you're not by yourself, do the common sense thing, which is to send one person for help or to call 911. These days with phones everywhere, it's I'm sure increased response times. But and if you have a defibrillator, go get that thing, or have your buddy do it. Bring it to the victim's side. Assess the situation. Like, are they breathing? Do they have a pulse? And this is one of the few situations they point out where, because I know we covered CPR, and the hands-only CPR is kind of what's recommended now, but that is not the case with drowning.
No, apparently you still want to do mouth-to-mouth is how I took that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which has never made sense to me, because if you're blowing into somebody's mouth, aren't you blowing carbon dioxide into their body? What's the point of that? Is it just to get the lungs opening and closing?
I don't know, maybe.
I've never understood that.
Yeah, because I think that's the case. Like, it's not saying your body needs CO2. I think it's your lungs need to be expanding and contracting.
Gotcha.
It's been a while, though, since I lifeguarded.
Yeah, but I mean, and it used to be like, yeah, you do chest compressions and then mouth to mouth, and then they said, no, just do chest compressions. So I was surprised to see that with drowning, they're like, do both.
Right.
They're back with that. And then also, don't forget, while you're doing all this, keep in mind that the person's neck might need to be supported or kept at a certain straight angle, because they may have injured themselves. That may have caused the drowning to begin with.
Yeah, like if they dove in or whatever.
Right.
So if they're breathing, but they're not awake, then roll them over on their side, because, they might vomit and asphyxiate that way, which, the way Bon Scott went out. And I believe some other rock stars have gone out that way.
John Bonham, Janis Joplin.
Oh, did they all asphyxiate from vomit?
Yeah. Irving Berlin.
Really?
No.
I don't know.
I was just trying to think of musician least likely to asphyxiate on his own vomit.
Oh, well, I think that's Benny Goodman.
Yeah. Although he partied.
Did he?
No, I'm just being contrary.
Okay. We have to lighten this thing up a little bit, right?
I know, it's hard.
I'm looking for jokes in here. It's tough.
So let's see. You got somebody who's breathing but unconscious. Roll them on their side.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's not breathing and doesn't have a pulse, you do CPR.
Mm-hmm.
You want the EMS to get there as fast as possible, but CPR for, whether it's a heart attack or whether it's a drowning, if you can do CPR, you can prolong the amount of time it takes for the EMS to get there. You're just staving off like irreversible damage by doing at the very least chest compressions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one thing that I did not know that I ran across, Chuck, is there's actually a tremendous amount of racial disparities when it comes to drowning. There are far greater numbers of African Americans, and this is the U.S. strictly, African Americans, and then Native Americans and Alaskan Natives who drown compared to white kids. And depending on the venue and the age group, it can actually get shocking how great the difference is.
Yeah, between the age range of 11 to 12 years old, African Americans drown in swimming pools 10 times the rate of white kids.
10 times.
And this is something I did know, because the pool I lifeguarded, where I lifeguarded for 3 years, was majority African American kids. Mm-hmm. And they, we got not special training, but we got, we were told that by the lifeguard company. Like, it was a huge lifeguard company that supplied lifeguards all over the city.
Like taxis.
Yeah, exactly. So at my pool and pools like that, they, we had little breakout sessions for us. We were like, hey, listen, it is a systemic thing in this country where little black kids don't learn how to swim as often. And, the CDC has done studies, and there's a professor in Montana named Jeff Wiltz who wrote Contested Waters, A Social History of Swimming Pools in America. And it all makes perfect sense because of discrimination and segregation. When swimming pools and recreational swimming and sports swimming started to come around, these black families couldn't go to the pools. So they didn't take swim lessons. They didn't learn how to swim. If your grandparents didn't learn how to swim, then they're, I think they even have a stat.
Yeah.
You have a 13% chance to take swimming lessons and learn how to swim if your parents did not. Only a 13% chance.
Right.
So it's just passed down.
Yeah, and it's just odd that it coincided where a surge in popularity of pools and swimming in America coincided with two of the times when segregation was most strictly enforced in America, too, the 20s and 30s and the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
And so, as a result, African Americans missed out on swimming, and it's intergenerational and passed down still to this day among African American families. Not all of them, obviously, but there are plenty out there who are like, I don't know how to swim, and I'm very much afraid that if I get you near a pool, you're going to drown.
Right.
So I don't even want you taking swimming lessons because I don't want to mess with that kind of thing. And so, like you said, it becomes intergenerational.
Yeah, and there are plenty of programs now, thankfully. And even when I was lifeguarding, 1,000 years ago, plenty of programs to try and give reduced rate or free swimming lessons in communities like that, and basically get everyone trained up.
Swimming lessons help. It is one of the ways to prevent drownings is knowing how to swim.
Yeah, it sounds like a no-brainer.
It does.
But you can drown even when you can swim, so that's the reason they point out that one of the best ways to prevent drowning is learning how to swim.
Right, it is. But they also make a very big point. If once your kid knows how to swim, you can't just be like, you're fine. You go to the pool by yourself.
Yeah.
Like this one article put it like learning to swim doesn't drown-proof your kid.
No. Something
like a quarter of deaths by drowning are from kids who knew how to swim or people who knew how to swim. So it's good to know how to swim, and it probably will help at some point, like anytime you get into a pool, but it doesn't drown-proof you, and you need to also be smart in other ways too.
Yeah, I mean, we're literally right in the middle of swim lessons for our daughter, and at approaching 3 years old, and it's tough, man. She doesn't like getting her face in the water, so there's
that's just smart.
Well, yeah, that's a good instinct probably, but not when you're trying to teach your kid how to swim. That's problematic. So it's a slow process in our case. Other kids take to it like a duck in the water, as they say.
Yeah, I did. I still remember taking swim lessons, and I was a pretty little kid myself, but I remember the one thing I hated about swim lessons is that I had to leave in the middle of Thundar the Barbarian on Saturday morning cartoons, so I never really got to watch a single full episode of Thundar. Then the other thing I remember is realizing that as I was swimming toward the swim instructor, I wasn't getting any closer, and it finally dawned on me. I was like, you're moving further away.
Oh, that old trick.
And she's like, no, I'm not. And suddenly I was like there, But I remember being like, oh, there's such a thing as guile and deception. I had no idea. Now I learned it thanks to my swim instructor.
Yeah, my deal was I was terrified of swimming and swim class. And
what were you
lessons.
Terrified about?
Drowning.
Oh, were you? Okay.
My brother and sister went to swim class. They learned how to swim. I refused. I was really scared. I would not go out of the shallow end for many years.
Aww.
I know. I was a little scaredy cat. But my mom, I remember very distinctly when I was kind of old, man. I was like 6 years old. And she didn't threaten me, but she said, hey, listen, you're going to take swim lessons in like July. You've got to learn how to swim.
July is go time.
And this was, and I'm making up dates, but let's say it was July. And then in June, we went to visit my grandparents whose neighbor had a pool. And we were doing that thing where you hold on to the edge of the pool, and get a bunch of kids and go around and around and create like a little whirlpool. And I remember very distinctly taking my hands off earlier and earlier and taught myself to swim that day.
Oh, cool.
And it was because it was kind of a current and people in front of me and behind me. And I just started letting go a little sooner and a little sooner in the deep end. And before you know it, I was doing a very rudimentary dog paddle. And that led to very poor swimming, which I still have today.
Were you swimming around and you're like self-taught?
Yeah, I had a T-shirt that said self-taught, back off.
Self-taught swimmer.
I'm still not a good swimmer. I mean, I can swim fine, but I'm not, as far as swimming strokes and proper swimming, I'm terrible.
I can do a swimming stroke. It's not any good, but I can do the technique of it. but I was on a swim team.
See, I never was.
It was the worst swim team in the league, and I was the worst member of the team.
Yes.
So
worst swimmer in the county. That was your nickname.
My worst was pretty much. My worst was the backstroke. And the coaches would always put me in a backstroke and be like, please don't. Like, why are you doing this? And now as a grown-up, I know because they were just like, we're losing anyway. We're going to watch Josh do the backstroke. Every time I did the backstroke, I would end up like 2 lanes over.
I was just about to say, I bet you went to a different lane.
Yeah, and when I bumped into the other kid, they would inevitably stand up. And so we'd both be disqualified because I couldn't stay in my own lane.
Uh-huh.
And then the coaches just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, I was never on a swim team. And that's where you learn how to do it properly, you know. I mean, I can ape those strokes from watching the Olympics, but it's nothing close to. I mean, I can't do butterfly, obviously.
I'll teach you this summer.
Okay.
Butterfly is definitely the hardest.
Man.
But the breaststroke, it's nice. It's a good stroke. I'm teaching you to swim this summer. Some strokes, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I can do a rudimentary breaststroke, but it looks more like I'm just kind of bobbing up and down. I'm really not going very far.
Yeah, but once you, if you do it, you're like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Right. I know what you're talking about. I've had that sensation before too, but you're just like a frog that ain't quite right, you know?
All right, so here's some other handy rules. If you have a newborn or a toddler, anyone basically up to about 4, they say they call it touch supervision. So like never be more than an arm length away because it can happen very fast in a swimming pool and a bathtub. Get off your cell phone, put down your Marie Claire and your Red Book and your Reader's Digest.
Or your Men's Health.
Sure. Or your Bodybuilders Weekly.
Right.
Or your Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
And pay attention to your kid. If you have a pool, you need to have that thing fenced in.
Oh, yeah.
Or even better these days, they have those excellent, it's not a hard top, but it's between hard and the little soft top that are retractable. So you get out and you go inside and you can cover that pool right up.
Yeah, although I think by law you have to have a fence around, like 4-sided fence with like a self-closing gate that also self-latches too.
Yeah.
And you have to grease it with Crisco so little kids can't climb it.
Well, you do that anyway.
Right. But it's fun to watch them try.
You should learn CPR. You should have all the little life-saving implements at your pool.
Oh, another one. I had not thought about this, but if you have a pool, you want to have a landline too because you need to keep a phone that works right by your pool at all times.
Yeah, so you need to be like Thurston Howell and have a pool that
made out of a clamshell
that a guy in a white tuxedo can bring over and sit down on a side table.
Right. Or like Hunter Thompson at the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Well, I knew you'd bring up Hunter Thompson at some point in this episode.
Duh. One other thing I want to say too, also, if your kid has like an episode that looks like a close call to you,
yeah,
but they seem fine, then yes, keep an eye on them for the idea that they could conceivably have drowned and they could be developing symptoms. And if they start to develop any symptoms, then take them to the ER, and the ER doctors will very kindly listen to their lungs to see if they hear any water. Easy peasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, don't freak out. Like if your kid just coughs and sputters a little bit and they're fine and they don't develop any symptoms at all, they're fine, most likely, right? But it does pay to be vigilant, and it is better safe than sorry. Just don't be terrified if your kid, as long as they didn't have anything that you could be like, that was kind of a drowning episode that just happened. You're probably in the clear.
Yeah, it's a rare case, that kid in Texas, but because it does happen, keep an eye out for sure.
On the other hand, though, the media, like talking about this stuff, supposedly has saved at least one other kid's life from the publicity that went around that case. It happened to another kid later on, and the parents had heard about this and took their kid into the ER and saved her life, I believe.
Well, there you have it.
You also don't necessarily just drown in a pool either.
No, I mean, this stuff is horrifying. The thought of an infant drowning in a dog water bowl is a nightmare scenario.
Yeah, dog water bowl, open cooler that has melted ice, toilets, a cleaning bucket, anything that can hold something like 1 inch of water is enough to drown an infant and possibly a toddler, I think, too.
Oy.
Cars, people drown in cars as well.
Yeah.
Bathtubs are actually another one. So get this, man. So usually the people who drown in bathtubs are infants or the elderly. But there's a lot of adults who drown in bathtubs and specifically hot tubs. Did you know about this?
Well, I mean, yeah. You get a little drunk, you stand up too fast, and you're dizzy from the temperature. Mm-hmm. It's not good. It's not a good combo.
No, and that's supposedly what happened to Orville Redenbacher. He was in a hot bath and suffered a heart attack and ended up drowning. Whitney Houston died in a bathtub. And I think every year in the U.S., about 330 people drown in their bathtub in a year. Seems like a normal amount, right?
Yeah.
Guess how many die in bathtubs in Japan in a year?
How many?
14,000.
Why?
I don't know. I think they take more hot baths.
They have those soaker tubs too.
Yeah, it's like part of the culture. That's the only thing I can think of, because they also have like 1/3 of the population of the U.S. too. That's a lot of drowning deaths in bathtubs, man.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, they did say too, like more people die in Florida in car drownings just because there are more waterfront roadways. Mm-hmm. And then earlier when we talked about the racial aspect, the whole deal, we kind of flew past it, but Native Alaskans and indigenous peoples died more than white people because they are more often in bodies of water that are probably far away and have logs and rocks and things underneath the surface.
Yeah. So they have more exposure to natural bodies of water than the average American.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
Nope.
Well, that's drowning. Hopefully we helped in some way, because summer's coming, okay?
That's right.
And I'm going to teach you the breaststroke.
Sweet.
If you want to know more about drowning, you can type that sad word into the search bar at How Stuff Works, and it'll bring up something. And since I said that, it's time for listener mail.
I'm going to call this first thing I just pulled up on my phone right here. Look at that.
Nice.
But it's about the Steve Miller Band and Peaches. Remember in the Emojis episode, one of us, probably you.
I didn't say Steve Miller. I said Allman Brothers.
Oh. Well, he said someone mentioned the line from Steve Miller Band, I really like your peaches, I want to shake your tree. Did one of us not mention that?
No, this person is out of their mind.
Well, he has an email regardless.
Okay, let's hear it.
We all love the Steve Miller Band. Now this story is probably not true, but I want you to believe it. Back in college, when my youngest daughter was born, I was driving a delivery truck for a small auto parts company. I worked with this old guy, and he was probably like 42. And his stories, I worked with this old guy. He's probably like 42. That's me talking.
Okay.
So one time he told me that he worked in this auto shop years ago, and it was owned by this husband and wife, and he had played bass for a little while in the Steve Miller Band, and her name was Peaches, his wife. So the story was that the line from Steve Miller, really like your peaches, want to shake your tree, was Steve Miller taunting his own bass player.
Mean.
He says, I don't know if this is true, but the story's like, it rang true enough. So I like to think that somewhere there's a couple that owns an auto parts store in Arizona, and to stick it to Steve Miller.
Who doesn't want to stick it to Steve Miller, you know?
And that's from Jared. Dude, I was in the local market near my house about a year ago. And
buying some artisan tonic?
And my buddy Chris Cox, who you know, who plays bass in my band, he happened to be in there. We were kind of talking about music.
His wife's name is Peaches too.
No, it's not. We were talking about music, and this guy who looked like an old Southern rocker came up, and he was like, "You guys in a band?" We were like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Me too." It's like, "Oh yeah," and he like, "I'm the flute player in the Marshall Tucker Band."
No.
And I was like, "Whoa,
Wow.
Like if Marshall Tucker Band is known for one thing, it's the flute. Like for
Yeah.
real.
What's name off a couple of their fluty songs?
Well, Heard It in a Love Song, Can't Be Wrong. That one has that famous flute part.
What? No.
You know that song.
Sure, but I can't think of the flute part.
Oh, I mean, it's the whole intro. Do 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 do. That's all flute.
Oh, I guess I never realized that.
Anyway, a bunch of their songs have the flute, and he was not the original flautist.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of these, Marshall Tucker Band's one of those deals where
Sure.
it's like two original members. They've had 20 flute players.
Like the Temptations or something.
Yeah, but I was still impressed. I was like, man, that's amazing.
That is impressive.
And then like Anchorman, he whipped one out of his sleeve right there in the store.
Kicked some candles off of tables and went to town.
Yeah, I'd say Marshall Tucker Band is second only to Jethro Tull for flute innovation.
Okay, that's who I'm thinking of. They did like Aqua Long. Hey,
How about that?
we just came full circle.
All right, let's just end it.
If you want to get in touch with Chuck and me and Jerry, you can tweet to us. I'm at Josh Clark and at SYSK Podcast, and Chuck is at Movie Crush. Chuck's on Facebook at facebook.com/Charles W. Chuck Bryant and at /Stuff You Should Know. You can send us an email to stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com. And as always, join us at our home on the web, stuffyoushouldknow.com.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com.
Introducing the all-new Mazda CX-5, featuring more connection,
Hey Google, where's the nearest Pilates class?
safety that has your back, more discovery on the scenic routes, more passion in the details, and more control in changing weather. The all-new Mazda CX-5, more to move every side of you. See it in 5 films at MazdaUSA.com/5sides.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC. Sequences shortened and simulated.
Everyone knows winter is the real mess maker. You don't need WeatherTech floor liners for summer unless you hit the beach and half the beach ends up back in your car, or the campsite dirt ends up in your trunk. Then you'd want a cargo liner, or a road trip goes sideways, lemonade spills, ketchup goes rogue, ice cream drips. Yeah, you'd be pretty happy about those WeatherTech seat protectors. So just to be clear, as the mud you're inevitably going to step in this summer, you don't need WeatherTech unless you plan on doing summer. Visit WeatherTech.com today.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.